Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you don't already follow me, my name is Angel Valle. I make YouTube content for the past, I want to say 3 years, but today I bring y'all a special video that has been requested a few times and I never got the time to actually get around to it. But right now I'm actually trying to convince myself to get into the gym. So I was like, hey, I can do a quick video because this isn't a hard topic for me. It's something that I can talk about days and days, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna spend a quick 15 minutes and just explain to y'all the reason why I keep going as a single mom and what are the motives behind me just constantly going throughout like my life experiences, or what keeps me fueled, right? Which is a few of the questions that, of course, single moms have wrote me on Instagram, Facebook, social media, that if you don't already follow me, make sure to go follow me. I sometimes post crazy stuff, Sunday fun day stuff with my daughter, my real estate stuff, nursing stuff, and just life events like I am right now. Just because I try to provide the realest side of me to y'all. And sometimes I feel like that gets bluffed a lot because I need y'all to remember that what y'all see on social media is what I want y'all to see, but it's not what I truly go through unless y'all see the background end of it. It is what I'm going through, but it's only highlights. Like, and this is like quoted Pinterest stuff, but it's really reality. Like, I only post on Facebook and stuff the highlights. I don't really talk about the sad and grimy shit because who does that? You know what I mean? Like, who does that? So that's kind of what I use my YouTube for, is for y'all to really get to understand my whys and motives and what's actually in the background of all those highlighted stuff y'all see on my socials. So getting back to it, I did get a question just stating that, what is it that keeps me motivated? Like, what is it that keeps my fuel going as a single mom, whatever the case may be. I was just eating chips, just FYI. That is the reality of me having a leg day today, and it's rainy and gloomy. Wasn't feeling it, so I was like, hey, we're gonna have some hot chips. Why my nose is running. So back to it. So there's really a lot to it, but I'm gonna try to condense it for this video. So first and foremost, I want to say I did have my daughter when I was 18 years old. I actually had her the week of my graduation, and I want to say that I'm gonna try to not get sentimental, but my daughter's by far, as little cliche or whatever you want to say that it sounds, my daughter is a lot of my motives of why I do what I do. I have been through a lot of sad shit throughout my life. For people that have followed me for a long time, y'all know that, just because y'all have seen my timeline. But people that are new to this, they're like, oh, it just seems like it's easy for shit to happen to her. It doesn't happen to me. Hence, scratch that out. It did happen to me. It's just been about 4 years now that I've actually been planning out my life, and it's been going accordingly. But it took a lot of grooming and a lot of adulting for that to finally start happening, and for me to mold my life for shit to happen the way I wanted it to. For a long time, I let life happen to me, and that fucking sucked, because sadly and unintentionally, I dragged my daughter through that shit as well. And I want to say that that is my primary motive as to why I keep going, because I am one of those people that I'm just like, I always put myself in the other person's shoes. This is sometimes a weakness for myself because I always want to do more for others than I do for myself. But when it came from my daughter, I was like, she is like, I am all she has, and she is all I have. Of course, I have family. I have 3 brothers. My mom and my dad still in my life, thankfully. But my daughter was by far my biggest anchor, that I was like, she literally only has me. So if I don't fucking make shit happen, it's not gonna happen, not only not for me, but not for her, and worse. Because statistics, books, the news, everything, history has proven that single moms don't make it, and it's harder for us. And I was like, I am gonna fight my way through so my daughter doesn't get the back end of the burner of what those books and those statistics say. I was like, if I got a crappy ass life, that's fine. I did that to myself, but my daughter has got no chance to predict her own. And if it's because of me, I'm gonna hate myself for the rest of my life. So I kept that as a reminder that if I deserve this, she didn't deserve this. And I had all the will and power to get her out of that. If it wasn't for me, it had to be for her. So like in every situation that I was in, sometimes I was very selfish because I wanted to keep that. I want to have my family, even though it didn't work out with her dad. Like, I still want to build that family image, and I wanted someone to be in our lives. I wanted her to have a father figure, but in that process, I lost myself. At the same time, I kept reminding myself she lost her mom, and that wasn't fucking fair to her. And I hurt my parents. I hurt my brothers, because of course everybody that's around you and that they love you, they want the best for you. And I kept saying, the people that genuinely like have put their heart, suffering, tears into me being someone are suffering because I'm not that someone, because they're seeing me suffer. And just keeping that daily reminder, I was like, I have to do more. I have to continue going. Yes, this hurts, but it has to stop hurting at some point. And I have to make that happen. I also want to say that there was a point in my life that I had this like click in my head. And I want to say I was like 22 years old. No, 23, 24. I was living far from my parents. I wasn't seeing them as often. I was stuck in my head that I know the way, I know my life, like they need to get out of my business, la la la. I was in this stubborn mentality, and then I hit rock bottom bad. And like always, I called my dad and my brothers for the rescue, and my mom as well. And not even in a blink of an eye, when I had cut all my family off, they were there, like within seconds. My brother drove in, my dad drove in, and I remember my dad getting there, and it's still really hard for me to talk about, but he walked into that house and he saw me like dead ass on the floor, crying my heart out, and he was like, get up. And I could not believe that my dad was telling me this, because I was like, you haven't even seen me in 3 months. Like, that's all you can say. And I saw this, like, it wasn't even anger. It was like a face of like sadness and like disappointment. And he just sobbed and he said, look at yourself in the mirror, Marie. And I was like, my middle name is Marie. And he was like, you don't understand, and that's my fault, how much I wanted a little girl. And I was like, quiet. And all I kept doing was crying. And he was like, for me to see you like this, it's clear to me that you don't understand why I do what I do as your father. And I need you to understand that I've done everything to this point for me not to see you like this. And to see this happen to you, you're like breaking my heart. And I was like, fuck. There's nothing worse than to disappoint your dad and for him to verbally say it, because I know that there was a different kind of heart breaking for him to get that out of his mouth. Because if you know my dad is like a sweetheart. My mom, another note, she gave me the same lecture but on a different like verbatim. So I was like, I can't believe I just did this. Like, he's right. I don't understand why he does what he does. And then like something in my head clicked, and I was like, my dad's misery, his suffering, his everything, his working, his never coming home, owning all these business, all this real estate, has never benefited him. So I started questioning myself as an adult, like, my dad, like, why did he do this? So I was like, there's no other indication or reason other than he did this for us, like me, my brothers, like there's nothing else. And then he said this. He said, out of all of my kids, I desired a little girl the most because it took us so long for us to get to you. And I expect you that if people are doing here, I want you to be up here. And I was just like, at the time when this happened later on, I was just like, that's a lot of pressure to put on a little girl when I would think back to it, right? And I wasn't little. I take that back. I was not little. I was fucking stupid and I was young and I thought I had the world on my shoulders and I didn't. And I thought I knew the best for me and I didn't. And I was just like, damn, like that hit home, you know? So after that, I went on with my life and I kept remembering that. And he never talked to me about that experience or like what he said. He never apologized or anything. Not that I expected him to apologize, but I would have been like if like he would have touched the subject at least once again in my life, and he didn't. He just went on with life. I guess he knew, like, if that doesn't touch her, there's nothing I can do for her to realize that she's now carrying a daughter and that what she is doing is she's gonna experience it with her own daughter. So I was like, oh my God, okay, I gotta change. And I did. So then that's when I started seeking my career even deeper and harder. I still went through my rough ends. I still lost a lot in the process. And he continued to be there for me. My dad never judged me. Neither did my parents. Neither did my brothers. But I started understanding their motives, their whys as to why they fought for me. And I was like, if they can do that, I have a lot of a more reason to fight back. So yeah, I kept messing up. I'm human, you know. I continue to get myself in messy relationships. And here comes my daughter being dragged along. And every single time I fell and I failed, my parents were just there. And I was like, I don't understand. If it would have been me, not that I didn't understand why they were parenting that way, but I just could not understand the will and power that it took for them to see me go through that and still not tell me anything. And I didn't understand that now until I'm an adult, that I was like, I had to grow. They had already done everything possible for me to grow from that, and I wasn't, until I had to experience it for myself. Sadly, it kept happening to me until I was like, I know better. I was raised in a family that my parents' marriage was all I knew. I didn't see my dad doing adultery. I didn't see my mom doing adultery. My mom never drank in her life. Like, I was like, why am I being surrounded and surrounding myself around all these things I've never been around when I was taught better and I've known better? So I'm going to try to make this as non-religion as I can. But in the places where I knew I was in the wrong, the voice in my head and that little shoulder knob that was like, you know better, was a push. And I truly believe it was a push from God, because that's where God lies. Everybody's like, ay, la hermana Angel, que este el otro. But it's honestly true. Like, when you're doing something bad, in your head, you're like, I know better because I'm not doing better. And that within itself was like, Marie, come on, get your shit together. And I had to, because if not, I continued to feel like shit, or I continued to do bad things that led me into worse things. So I continued with my career, even though I kept falling back and forth into the party life, back and forth into drinking, into doing bad decisions. I kept with what I wanted as a career. I kept going to the gym, and I was like, what are the things in my life that I'm consistent in and that I know that I can do better and that are going to drive me and my daughter to a better place? So I continued with that, even though it was freaking hard, like studying, doing all this hard work for my curriculums to get to my prereqs to graduate. And all my friends were doing the complete opposite. I was just like, kept reminding myself, kept telling myself, but they don't have my parents. They haven't put their parents through the suffering I have. Their dad didn't talk to them the way my dad talked to me. They don't understand their parents' whys. I do. I've already seen that. And they're not the ones that their kids are losing their mom in the process. And that continued to be my why and my push. Till this day, I say I will continue to push until my dad and my mom pass and are beyond me. They will continue to see me succeed, because for a long time, I didn't give that to them. And if I owe them anything, it's everything. Because I'm only here and I only have that voice in my ear and that little notch from God, like, Marie, you know better, is because they nurtured that. They instilled that somewhere in my childhood. My dad, with his tender loving care, my brothers too, instilled that in my heart, to know that there's someone out there, someone that loves you, someone that, and that is how I found my partner and found myself in the process. And at the same time, I ended up getting what I wanted, which was my family and stability, and I'm making my parents proud. So I'm going to continue to stick to that. I hope that this builds encouragement to someone, because I feel like as single moms, it's hard, especially when we don't grow up with a household like that, or that we don't have people that remind us on the daily, like, you can get out of this. It's hard. It's really hard. I didn't have that. So I had to find church groups and this and that. And I did that on the background. I had to be silent about that, because for a long time I was very embarrassed that I went to church, that the girls that were supporting me, the girls that were pushing me, were from church groups. Because I was like, if I tell my friends that go to the club that I go drinking, what would they would tell me, ay la hermana, ay esto, ay el otro. But I was like, no, the girls that are doing better than me, the ones that where I want to see myself, are the girls that I need to rely on, that I need to ask them questions. How are you doing it? How are you getting there? And even though they didn't go through the sufferings and the pains that I went through, they always had something positive to say, or simply just fucking do it. And I was like, tough shit, but I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's necessary to ask. And I love, I'm gonna put it out there, I love that I had so many requests for this video, because that tells me that you're not done fighting. Like, I remember when I started asking questions and girls were like, girl, you have so much fight in you and you don't even understand, by the simple fact that you're asking the question. There's girls that are like, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with the way I'm living. I'm fine with being stagnant. I'm fine with being complacent with my life. But there's girls that are asking the hard questions. How did you do it? And without fear of someone telling them, like, why are you asking me? That's simple. That's a dumb question. Like, you surely know how to do it. Did no one not teach you? Like, that's shady. And for you to come to another female and be like, how do you do it? What keeps you motivated? Drives me insane. If you like this video, and if you don't, this was just a highly requested video that I did want to put out there, because I feel like I was asking some of the similar questions. And not that I feel like I'm at the top. I am nowhere at the top. I still have a lot of work to do, but I still have my mom and my dad to remind me. And I still have my daughter, thankfully, at my side every day to push me. And I feel like the biggest blessings come in the littlest ways, and that's my daughter. And I know a lot of my single moms out there have that. So just continue to fight. Don't give up. There's a lot out there for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit our follow button. I will be doing more videos with my daughter. Haven't gotten to it. I just started my nursing career, but I'm still going to the gym. I'm going to get off and do leg day. And we just finished our house. I just got my dream car, and this can all happen for you. It really fucking can. And it's going to continue to come if you continue to fight and continue to work. So get your ass to work. Love y'all.